Welcome back to the Weekly Defuse. We'll be recapping the biggest happenings in this week in Valorant and what to look forward to next week. We are recording this on Thursday, April the 20th, 420. And on this week's episode, the VCL is back, baby. KC in shambles, and TenZ is out during Super Week. Oh my God. I'm your host this week, Domenic from Off the Dome. And as always, I'm joined by Galaxy from the Inting Podcast. Galaxy, how's it doing?
I'm doing wonderful. Just, VCL is back. Super Week is in franchising. There's drama within the EMEA region. What can you ask? You can't ask for anything more.
I feel like there's drama everywhere right now. Like every bit of region, except for maybe APAC. I feel like APAC's doing pretty chill right now.
Yeah, I feel like they're the Switzerland and of the world, where they just don't bother anybody. They're just there in their own lane, and then then you have like the Americas. Big controversy. You have EMEA roster changes for no reason, and then APAC and Pacific, they're just like, hey, we're gonna play Valorant.
I don't know. I'll tell you this. So I feel like something's gonna happen with Rex Regum. I don't know how to properly pronounce her name, because they are not doing well. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. Let's get into the major news points for the week, the recaps. I'm gonna start off with the NA VCT. So this week we had some banger matchups. We had some absolute bangers, some heaters from the Americas. To start it off, one of the biggest matches of the week, we called it beforehand, was Loud versus Furia. This was the big match because this would dictate who would be the number one seed, because they were both 2-0 going in, which means that only one team would come out 3-0. And of course, who could have seen this coming? Loud 2-0, 13-9, 13-4, pretty dominant against them. But I think this speaks to two big things about the America bracket, is that one, Brazil is back. Brazil is on top. All of like South America broader is just doing well, with the exception of Crew. If I'm not mistaken, only one South American team is not qualifying as of this point, is the 0-3 Crew, which they got their own set of problems. But right now, Loud, Leviathan, MIBR, and Furia all doing very well. Only two North American teams are in that upper echelon, the top six, which I think is super interesting. Other matches this week, we also had, let me pull up my stat sheet right here, Leviathan Sentinels with a tough loss for Sentinels. We'll get into some of that drama later. Leviathan winning 2-1. Zekin trying to put the team on his back. The LeBron James 2018 couldn't pull it off, unfortunately, but those are some fucking fire matches. We also had NRG MIBR, which is another huge upset. MIBR taking it over NRG. NRG just keeps underperforming to what this team, where we thought it was going to be. And it's not necessarily SOM and it's not necessarily Artis, but it's a mix of the whole team just not making it. This most recent game I'm looking at right now, FNS, minus 31 KD. They're winning on plus minus, like first kill, first death, which is good. But these matches are just so close and they're not able to pull it out. Hopefully NRG is able to turn around, because they have an amazing roster on paper. But again, that's on paper. Finally, just to wrap it up, Cloud9 100 Thieves, Cloud9 took it 2-0 as well. Evil Geniuses, Crew, the battle for the worst. EG took it 2-1. I'm pretty sure, and this is around the time, they had Demon 1 come in for BCJ, which is a tough loss to see. But Demon 1 kind of showing up, playing a crazy amount of flex, playing KJ, playing Jet, and playing Brimstone, 3 different roles, and still top fragging for EG, so that's pretty impressive. Again, this week has been kind of, individual matches have meant a lot. They've been kind of some statement matches, especially that Leviathan Sentinels and that Loud Furia game, MIBR, NRG, right? Those are small, those matches will matter as we close in on playoffs. But that's what I think about this week. What do you think so far?
I think this week has been really interesting to watch. I know, for me, I had Loud winning over Furia. As much as I love the Furia team, they're really solid and everything. I just felt like Loud was just the overall stronger team. And I'm happy NA is not NA. At least every team in NA at least has a win. EG showing up when it's needed most. We can always count on EG to at least get one win in them.
That's so funny.
It was a bit of a controversy. I never expected BCJ to be the issue of EG. I always felt like he was one of the more solid players on that roster. So, him being subbed out, it could be maybe a difference in in play style. Maybe him, the coaching staff didn't see eye to eye. Who knows? I was shocked that MIBR beat on NRG. I knew MIBR had a pretty strong roster, but I did not expect them to beat them 2-1. It felt like NRG is there. It's hard for them to find a spot. I think their playstyle is all over the place, in my opinion. Where like they look really solid in a lot of maps, where they just look dominant. They look crazy good. They look like Masters winner level team. But then some weeks, I just feel like they just don't know what to do in mid rounds, and they seem very lost at times. I don't know if maybe it's a role issue or I don't know what the issue is, but it just seems like they're just lost a lot of the times, and I hope they do fix it. Because NRG, essentially, everyone came into this thinking NRG was gonna carry us, where they were gonna spearhead NA back into Masters. But looking at it now, it doesn't even look like they might not even make playoffs. So
yeah,
who knows what would happen. But overall, I think the matches were really solid, and I think next week we have some pretty solid matches.
oh yeah. I'll quickly go. I think if you can only watch Valorant one day, you need to watch on Friday, because the two matches, 3 p.m., Loud versus Sentinels. Not only will that be a fun matchup and see what the Sentinels can do without TenZ, which we'll get to again later, with Marv coming in, but the number 1 seeded Loud as well. So that's going to be a fun matchup, an interesting matchup. Hopefully not a blowout. And 6 p.m. you have Leviathan versus MIPR. What a crazy set of circumstances. Leviathan looking insane, looking just as good as we predicted. MIBR being the upset team coming out of Brazil, being operating at that level, doing very well. That's going to be a matchup. We have more matches Saturday. We have Crew 100 Thieves, EG Furia. We'll toss these all up on here, and on Twitter we'll be talking about our match of the day or which matches to watch. Go follow. Sunday we have NRG Cloud9, MIBR Sentinels, because this is Super Week, so they will be playing again. Another banger matchup right there. MIBR Sentinels, Leviathan 100 Thieves, EG Loud, Cloud9 Furia, another good one to watch, and finally NRG versus Crew. Which is your like 1 or 2 matches to watch if you can only select?
If I had to, it would obviously be Leviathan and MIBR, just because I've been a big Leviathan guy, just through and through. I love the team. I love everything they've got done. And it's going to be a bit of a hot take, but I would like to see Yes, it would be the NRG and Cloud9. So I think like that, because those two rosters coming into the season, they were one of the 2 favorites NA teams. So seeing them battle it out and seeing them, it's more of just like a statement, because if many of you don't know, this week is Super Week, meaning each team will be playing twice this week. So if you're having someone, so for example, like NRG, they have a pretty tough roster. They have a pretty tough, actually no, I think they have a pretty even feeling, because they play Crew, but they also play Cloud9. So a lot of teams, if they go 0-2, it kind of sets them back a lot, because this is the one time. I think this is the one week where you need to go 2-0 to even have a chance, or look at the outline if you even have a chance of making playoffs. Because I feel like this week is going to be super important. But I would watch in my opinion, it would be like Leviathan versus MIBR, and then the not Leviathan, NRG versus Cloud9. I think those 2 matchups are going to be really fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm excited for Super Week. I don't know. I'm still in exams. I just came back from an exam earlier today, so I'm not in the freshest of mind when it comes to Valorant. But I'm hoping to catch a few of these matches, especially tomorrow's matches are going to be super interesting. We're recording this on Thursday, so tomorrow will be Friday. Those matches will be crazy. I'm excited to see how they actually shake out. And yeah, let's move over to the weaker region, EMEA.
Yeah, EMEA has been, for the most part, it's been pretty interesting, minus the dramas that we'll get to a little bit later. But for the most part, it's been really solid. I feel like teams are trying to find their foot. Like Liquid has really been proving themselves really strong in the region. I feel like they're really strong. And also, surprisingly, Giants Gaming. You know, Dom back then in VCT in Lock-In, we roasted them for their jersey, and we called them Subway workers. But
dude, the Subway jerseys, I forgot about those.
They're currently right now they're number 2 in the franchising spot right now. So they're number 2 right behind Fnatic, who is 4-0. They're 3-2 right now. Fnatic actually couldn't play this week due to half the team getting COVID. So
oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so the games got postponed to another day. Don't know when. but it's been really solid. And then I'll address the elephant in the room, Karmine Corp. So if many of you don't know, NW Zera, it came out that NW Zera will be leaving the team, and that their assistant coach will be stepping in and playing for them. How I feel about this? I'm not really excited to see this. It's such a bad situation. What's going on in Karmine Corp? Scream tweeted out saying that he abandoned the team. I think the quote he uses was abandoned. So we don't know what happened there. If there's just there's something happened in the locker room where like just they couldn't mesh together, or it's just like they decided to just move on. But I feel like it's an interesting choice that you're using your assistant coach as a stand-in instead of, maybe getting another player. Maybe if they could have found another French player or someone who spoke French. Mm-hmm. But I feel like it was it's going to be interesting because they have a really tough matchup. They go against Na'Vi tomorrow. So going against Na'Vi with a assistant coach as a sub, not a good start. So Karmine Corp currently is 1-3, right? Their next matchups, they have to beat against Na'Vi, Koi, Football, Fnatic, and Giants Gaming. All 5 of those teams are in playoff contention. They minimally have to win at least 4 of them, maybe 3, in case other teams do bad to qualify for playoffs. So it's going to be a really hard matchup. It's going to be a really hard next 5 weeks for them, and I do hope they show up because I still have hope in Karmine Corp. But I don't know. We'll see about that. And again, BBL is still winless. So let's see if this week they get a win. So far, every region has another week. So far, every region has one team that's winless right now. So let's see which team gets it. But that's really it for EMEA, and we'll update you guys later on. And the Pacific. If many of you guys don't know, if you guys didn't see the Paper X versus DRX game, it was very one-sided. If I'm not going to be mistaken, it was very one-sided. DRX destroyed Paper X first map 13-5, and then DRX won 13-10. The map split was a bit of a closer map, but no, DRX still shows that they're the big dogs of the region, and they're not meant to be pushed around.
Yeah, and also want to point out that they are still they haven't still yet to drop a map. I know last week we kind of talked about this. You said, they're up against Talon and Global and Zeta, and they haven't really dropped the maps. Not too bad. They've now just fucking destroyed Paper X. Not just beat Paper X, destroyed Paper X. I don't think it helps that they tried to run this 6-man roster. Again, I didn't get to watch the match fully, so I didn't get to see all the adaptations and how that actually fully played into it. But from the outcome of it, having Something and Mind Freak be the 2 players not performing very well, divided pretty well, but it's tough to see something like that, especially when a team so prestigious as Paper X, come in and not be able to perform against a title favorite like DRX. Now, I'm sorry to bogart your section real quick. I'm really excited for next week, or I guess not even next week, later this week, because it's DRX versus Gen G. Gen G has been kind of the underdog story when it comes to the Pacific region, because Gen G came from North America, right? They were doing well. They had the French-Canadian roster. I was a big Gen G fan back in the day, if you didn't know. I loved their team, the French-Canadians, GMD, Effies. A lot of these guys are still around, and you hear from them. But it's just so interesting that Gen G ended up switching over to Korea, where they're originally from, with a Korean super team roster, and they have been doing well. I would say around the same level as DRX. Again, they have wins over teams like Rex, Detonation, Team Secret. Those are okay wins, whatever. 2-0, 1-2-1 in there. A win on T1, though, pretty good. I think this next match, they're the only 2 teams that are 4-0, and this is the deciding match to decide who will go on to be 5-0 and who will be 4-1. These are good matches. This is going to be a big match, and it's happening, I believe, tomorrow night. Or it's kind of weird because of the time. It's at 4 a.m., 7 a.m. on Saturday. So if you're awake 7 a.m., honestly, I'll be awake studying, so we'll have to check it out.
Yeah, and I also did the math too. If either one of these team wins, essentially whoever wins this match essentially guarantees playoff. So
wow.
Important matchup for this week. So it depends on whoever wins this match essentially guarantees playoff, because DRX and Gen G, they're plus 44 and plus 35 in round differentials. So they could literally win this map and then throw the next 5 games and they'll still make playoffs due to how poorly the bottom half of the roster is doing. Global Esports 1-3, DFM 0-4, Talon Esports 0-4. So it's not looking too good for the other the bottom half, but the top half looking very strong. You know, Zeta slowly getting in there. I believe it was Depp that said that he wants to qualify for Masters because, you know, it's in Tokyo. He wants to represent.
True.
He wants to represent the home city. So, you know, it's going to be interesting if Zeta qualify. So they're 3-1 right now. They're doing really solid. I feel like they're a team that's really underrated and that's slept on. I'm kind of disappointed with what T1 is doing. They're 2-2. I expect them to do a little bit better than RRQ. I'm surprised RRQ is 2-2 also. But
to be fair, the 2 losses are to Gen G and to Paper Rex.
Yeah.
So those aren't terrible losses. Again, not a Masters level team, but they're definitely in that mid pack above that kind of cutoff.
Exactly. So, DRX, it's going to be interesting. This week is going to be, I guess tomorrow, correct? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. It would be, no, in 2 days.
Saturday. Yeah, times are weird.
Saturday at 7 a.m. EST. I think if you're in West Coast, it's like, 4 a.m. for you guys? So, yeah. But if you guys are up, watch it. It's a really good match.
Yeah, again, we'll be posting a lot more on the Twitter recently about important matches, when to watch them, how to watch them, and where to go. So stay tuned to that. Check it out if you can, because it's pretty bumping. Next, we're going to go into the question of the day. So we got a question for you today, and this is inspired by Yay getting picked up by DSG, and they're playing their first matches today. As we're recording this, they're about to play. And I want to ask you this. If you can put Ye on any roster in the world, where would you put him?
If I had to, I'd probably pick an EMEA team. I feel like no NA team would fit him. If I'm going to be real with him, I feel like, even with the EG, I don't think he would fit. In my opinion, I would put him in Team Heretics. I feel like he would slide in perfectly, as I feel like the team is not in the best of state and they need maybe a switch up. Scratch that. I would put him in Koi. I feel like Koi would need a solid opper. I feel like they don't have that, and they've been really struggling lately. Losing to Navi, losing to Vitality, Giants, and Football. They've just been on a bad stretch, and I feel like squeezing him in a Koi. They already all speak English to each other, so language is not an issue. I would put him on Koi.
That's fair. My take, I think you put them on Paper Rex. Think of a roster of Ye, Something, Forsaken, and Jing, and then the 5th man doesn't even matter. They're just getting so many kills.
Yeah. So just you got a star heavy team. I'm guessing they all already speak English anyway. So yeah, language barrier is not even an issue. So there you go.
Exactly, and strats don't even matter. Just sit and spawn and tap heads.
I love it when my strats are yay go kill, or next round is something go kill. It's gonna be
exactly. You're the head coach. You're the head coach.
Oh, I got it. But you don't need. Got you. I got the strat books left and right. I got you guys.
Exactly. Sick. Now, of course, we have our Eco Force. Big new thing. And Ennis, I want you to go first. What's your big Eco? Actually, wait. Before we go to Eco Force.
Oh. We got to talk about the VCLs.
We do have to cover the VCLs. We're going to have Eco Force up next. But first, we want to talk about the VCLs because they're back this week. They're back. Not only do we have challengers, not only do we have champions Tour, VCT, we also have VCL at the same time. In VCLs right now this week. And we're back at it. Group A, M80, TSM, Oxygen, Disguise, Shopify, Turtle Troop. Group B, Moist Moguls, The Guard, G2, OR, FaZe, Mad Lions. Group A is definitely more heavier than Group B, but both, the way that it's going to work this week is that first place, the groups really don't matter because it's not qualifying based on your placements. It's qualifying based off of your records and how your prizes are distributed, go to circuit points, which go into the playoffs. So the groups are really more so just who you play this week. Group A has a title frontrunner M80, who won the midseason faceoff pretty dominantly too. Other good teams as well, though, like TSM, Disguised, who now has Ye on their roster and Nerve as well. But Ye is the big name pickup. They're playing today. That's going to be a big matchup. And I want to say sleeper in Shopify. Group B themselves have the Guard, G2, and Moist Moguls. 3 very, very good rosters that I think can make a run. Will they challenge M80? I'm not 100% sure, but they definitely have the chops to compete with them. So what are your thoughts on post-mid-season face-off Challengers League? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, we did see a lot of roster changes. Shopify, they added Vanity instead of Dazzle. We had Turtle Troop. They added now Rossi and, if I'm not mistaken, it was Rossi and Dazzle. Yeah, Rossi and Dazzle are now in Turtle Troop. And there's a lot of roster changes. Mad Lions had their whole controversy with their roster changes. That we're not going to get into. That's a whole can of worms. We're not. If you guys want to look into it, just go on Twitter. You'll see everything. FaZe Clan, they actually took from Turtle Troop. They had now Tig and Mummy are now in FaZe Clan. But for the more of the top region, the more favorites, as in Moist Moguls, the Guard, and G2, nothing really changed. And M80, TSM, and Oxygen, nothing really changed there. It's definitely Group A. I don't know who made these groups because they are the most one-sided groups I've ever seen. Group B, you can easily tell, who might be qualifying for the playoffs by just how the roster is shaped for them. And, you already there's already a few games that have been played, so, you can already have an outline. But, week 1, now, don't overreact. Anything can happen after week 1. But I'm really, I'm big on the M80 guys. I always think that they're just going to win the whole thing. They're going to win Ascension. That's, I think, from seeing from the mid-season face-off and also split 1. I don't see any other way M80 might lose unless, Ye decides to drop maybe 50 a game and then maybe just single-handedly drag Disguise all the way to Ascension, which would be very funny to have a content creation org in franchising. It would be kind of funny, but
that'd be pretty funny.
Would it in a real world? Would it happen? No, but if it does, it'll be really funny.
I think you said it best. You said it one time. You said M80 is a franchising team that's not in franchising, and I think what separates them from a lot of these other teams, you can look at Disguise and say, yeah, look at Ye. Ye is a franchising player that's non-franchising. You can say there are individual players that should be in franchising, but there's very few teams in the team sense. You say those teams should be in franchising. M80 is one of those teams. You can maybe say it about Moist Moguls, but I think they have more of a high cap ceiling, so I don't think they're quite there just yet. Maybe G2. But I think in terms of their team pedigree and how they operate together, not just the talent with on them, but the talent as a team as a whole, M80 is by and large the best team in Ascension. They have amazing players. They have amazing cohesion. How they play is by dominating their opponent. They play smart. They play cool, calm, and collected. These are just kind of like, filler words. But for the most part, they're a very, very solid team. And they've been winning, and they won midseason face-off because that's what they do. They play to win, and they play around their own team. So I think they are, by and large, the number one to make it into playoffs.
Yeah. Maybe also reminds me of, I feel like them and Leviathan, they both have, similar in player caliber players. You'll have, it's not, no disrespect to any of the players, but there is no one superstar on that team. It's just everyone plays a very strong role, and they all just play super well. And you can also tell they all get along with each other well. So the chemistry system is already there also. So what I'm seeing is that they really resemble what Leviathan has also in the, there's not one superstar, but they all play the role perfectly, and they all know what their role is, and they prevail in that sense. So props to them. Yeah,
I'm excited to see how these go so far. As of right now, the matches that have been played, Moist Mogul over Mad Lion. Mad Lions, I like their new pickups. I think they can do well with them. I love the boy Blackheart. So we'll see what they do. M80 over Turtle Troop. TSM over Shopify 2-1, very close game. The Guard over FaZe Clan. Then today, we have Oxygen versus Disguised. Ye's debut, the Ye-bu, if you will. G2 over OR. Oxygen, and then, G2 over OR and OR.
And OR.
Next week, we have Oxygen Turtle Troop, G2 Moist Moguls, Guard OR, Shopify Disguised. M80 TSM, and FaZe Mad Lions. If there were any match you should watch, I think the 2 ones to keep an eye out for are Thursday's Shopify versus Disguised. We'll talk about this again on our Twitter. And Friday's M80 versus TSM. That is next week's game. So again, these haven't happened yet because those are Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And yeah, so keep an eye out.
Who do you think is qualifying for playoffs? Because it is off circuit points, right? So, I mean, it's kind of hard. But who do you think out of all of these teams are in the end are going to make it to the playoffs? So 8 teams make it out of these 12.
Okay, so I think it goes M80, TSM, Disguise, it's 3. Moist Moguls, The Guard, G2, that's 6. And then 2 more. I don't know the current standings of circuit points. I wonder if we can find that online.
So I know M80 is guaranteed into playoffs due to them winning the MSI. So they're guaranteed into playoffs. I'm pretty sure G2 and The Guard have really high they're second and third when it comes to their circuit points. Moist Moguls, I believe they're pretty high. I think the only teams that are really in the gutters right now are OR, Mad Lions, Turtle Troop, and Shopify because they didn't make it into MSI. So they have a lot to prove this split. So
yeah, I'm looking right now. In terms of total points, it goes M80, The Guard, G2, Oxygen, TSM, Moist Moguls, FaZe, and Disguised are the 8 teams that are going to make it in. The 4 not qualifying, Turtle Troop, Shopify, Mad Lions, OR.
Yep.
I could see that happening. The only team I could see falling outside of that is maybe... the only thing I see falling outside of that is maybe FaZe Clan. I'm not fully sold on their new roster changes. I could see Oxygen falling off a little bit, but I think Moist Moguls will do better. The Guard will stay around the same G2. These are all givens. Disguise will definitely move up a little bit. I could see maybe Shopify taking over now they have Vanity on their team, because Shopify has been at that level before. They have already lost their first game of the week, so I don't know if they can top their group, especially up against M80, but I think they have a chance to do so. They're only, 3 points behind Disguised, 4 points behind FaZe right now.
Yeah.
So I think I would bet on... Yeah, I think I would replace FaZe for Shopify and then the other 7 qualifiers.
Yeah, I would actually agree with you. Maybe I could see maybe like Turtle Troop coming up because I feel like they're still. I feel like their pickups are still strong. Adding Rossi and Dazzle, I feel like they're not bad players in the slightest. Rossi was still balling out all last split. So I would say and then they kept the core of We Did, Governor, and Adder. So I can say I would say either Shopify or Turtle Troop. I hope my boy T-Dog, he qualifies. Shout out to him. I hope they qualify, but it's gonna be interesting. I would say it's gonna be, but you can already see like maybe who is qualifying. We'll see by like week 3, week 2, or week 3, week 4, like which teams are really gonna qualify. But it's gonna be interesting. And then I think this is not the qualification for Ascension. I think it's a qualification because they would have to go against South America, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so I believe the winner of playoffs makes it to the Ascension qualification.
The Ascension qualification, which is the South American team that we do not know at the moment until the playoffs finish. But yeah, so it's going to be interesting. And yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think I haven't really been keeping up with any of the Brazilian challenges or South America in general. But I hope that they're doing well. I hope that they're good competition. I hope that at the end of the day, I do hope M80 makes it because I think they're cool. And I like Xander a lot, but we'll see how they do. Then we have our Eco Force. Boom. We're ecoing and we're forcing. Are you going to save? Are you saving on an idea? Playing it safe? Or are you forcing up? You're buying in. You're saying, I want to do this. I know I can do it. I'm going to start off with you, Galaxy. What's your force this week?
Everyone has their favorites. Guard, G2, M80. They kept their core. They're really strong. Disguised will win Split 2 of the NA VCL. Don't quote me on it, but
I'm quoting you.
You're quoting me. This is recorded, so I'm good. But I am confident. Ye has something to prove, something to show. Cloud9 spit him out, chewed him and spit him out on the street, and then was left into Strand. And then Disguise came down as his guardian angel, was like, "Come, brother, join us in the VCL." And now Ye will come out stronger than ever, dropping close to 50 kills a game. No one is safe from EA's wrath. El Diablo is back, and he's angry. So I have disguised winning the split 2. As much as I love my boys at M80, but who knows? Ye has something to prove. Think about the storyline. Getting kicked out of a franchising spot, going back to NA VCL, clawing your way back and seeing eye to eye with Cloud9 and be like, you can't get rid of me. I'm here. So in storyline wise, I could see this would be an amazing documentaries, Last Dance type documentaries type of story.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't think they're going to win Split 2, but I think they'll do well. I think Disguise will do well, Yeah, he's pretty good.
He's all right.
I'd say he's all right, Is he better than me? I don't know. I don't know about that. Is he better than you? Definitely. But I don't know. I think one player's impact is kind of hard to feel, and I think even though Ye is proven to be, MVP caliber player as he was the best player, I would say last year, it's hard to, keep working at that level within the confines of a team. And I think that coming on a new team, he's going to have to learn how to gel and work with them because, it's not 1v1, it's 5v5. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't think he'll make that much of an impact in terms of he will jump this team to the number 1 team by far. But I think he'll be a really good addition.
Yeah.
I'm going on that idea, but I appreciate the take, and I am going to clip this. We'll be back in 2 weeks.
Yeah, they're 0-2. They're not even in playoff contention.
They're just crying, yeah. You know what? I'm in a sour mood recently, And I'm in an eco. I'm selling. I'm playing it safe because internet weirdos are always going to be internet weirdos. This past week, we had some drama on the Sentinels front end. We alluded to it earlier, and that's Sentinels had some roster changes. Marv is coming in for TenZ because, among other things, I believe he fractured his wrist or fractured his hand, sprained his wrist, something along the lines of he injured his hand, and was supposed to sit out during his match this past week. But as it turns out, Marv couldn't get his visa in time. He couldn't get all the way to the LAN place, and TenZ had to play. And in this circumstance, very understandably, didn't perform at his best. He didn't perform that terribly, I didn't think. He went -14 overall in a 3-game series. Again, not his best performance, was playing on Jet. And he got a ton of flame online from everybody. Being like, these guys washed, she's shit, get him out of there. And Kaede had to come on and be like, hey guys, listen, grow up, do better. Not only did he fracture his hand, a day after he tested positive for COVID, So this guy's been going through it. I think people are way too quick to mob, especially a team like the Sentinels, who I think have the equivalent, similar idea as something like the Lakers in basketball, Their fans are very reactionary because they expect the best because they have, quote unquote, the best. They have players like Zek and TenZ. These are amazing, amazing players. So when they don't get the results, right, they have the reactionary, what is this? This is fucking terrible. Drop them. Do this, do that. But I think you have to give some credence for TenZ. Understandably, he's been injured and he has taken some time to recover. He needs that time. And trying to play through injury is fucking tough. Being sick while having to play through injury is also tough. This did prompt, however, some changes from the Sentinels, firing their coach Psycho, which I still don't know if that's a perfect idea. Promoting their assistant coach Kaplan, I believe, and finally bringing in Marv to replace TenZ for Super Week. This will have a big consequence on how Sentinels will do in the long term of the franchising, because Super Week is so important. Having so many changes leading up is going to be tough. TenZ, I understand, replacing with Marv, very good. Marv has been around this roster, so he kind of knows what's going on. Bringing in a new head coach, I don't know about that. Making big changes like these at a pivotal moment, not great. But that's been the Sentinels drama. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, I also feel like just Sentinel fans don't know, but true like don't know what esports really is. They're just very new, and they just ride on the hype train from the 2021, 2022 seasons. And I feel like people don't understand that like you can't. TenZ is in a situation where he has a lot going on in his life, a lot going on in his personal life, but also on top of that, I tweeted this out. I know a lot of people of you guys are mad, but I know a lot. Nobody can perform as much as he did because he was not playing with I think a finger infection, if I'm not mistaken, a sprained wrist, and he had COVID. Not one. All of you would have dropped a double cheeseburger with fries, if it mattered anything. You guys would have went 0-0 and 100 amount of deaths you guys would have had. So you guys need to understand that it is hard to play under the on a flu, on stage in front of an audience, and having a messed up hand. I think it was his right hand also too, if I'm not mistaken. So you got to understand that he is going through a lot and he needs a break. So he's not permanently benched. He's just benched until he does feel better. So it's this super week, I'm guessing, and I'm guessing he'll come back next week if I'm not mistaken. So he's not out completely. So you guys keep that in mind. But I think people need to be more mindful of like what the people's circumstances.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
But I have another force. It's a juicer. Not as juicier as the Yay, because that was too juicy. I think it was too juicy for my liking. But I had to say it. Someone had to say it. But
someone had to say it.
I believe that 3 NA teams will make playoffs. So we talked about the standings right now, and the standings they show that Loud is in first, Cloud9 second, Levi's in third, MIB's fourth, Furious fifth, and 100 Thieves are sixth, right? The bottom 5 teams are NA. 4 out of the 5 bottom 5 teams are NA. That's not too hot. That's not looking too good. I'm not going to lie to you. My hot take, even though Brazil is dominating right now, 3 North American teams will end up making playoffs. Something's going to happen this week. Something's in the water. We might have MJ's special drink. Someone's going to be taking it, and then they're about to pop off. And I think those 3 teams are Cloud9, NRG,
okay,
and Sentinels.
And Sentinels,
I do not believe 100 Thieves are going to make it, but I feel like Sentinels have something to prove, and they're going to claw their way back into this. Marv is going to Marv just back, Masters champion, 3-time finalist. He's going to come back, and he's going to really boost his team because it's Super Week. I feel like Super Week is going to really boost their confidence. TenZ is going to come back 100%. Terminator is coming back. So I feel like that's my hot take, but it's not looking too hot after 3 weeks, but we got plenty of the season going on. So that's my hot take of the week.
We got to have like an end of the year like show where we go back through all of our hot takes, because this one I think is a scorcher. Not because you have 100 Thieves not qualifying, but because you have 2 guys that are currently not in contention. NRG on the bridge I could see. Sentinels minus 21 map differential as of right now. And the question is, who's the other team coming out of the top 6? The non-American team. Furia? Maybe. MIBR? Maybe. Definitely not Leviathan. It's gotta be one of those 2.
Hey, I believe in underdog stories. I believe in a comeback. And, if this does happen, the viewership is going to skyrocket. Playoffs are going to be... I'm not saying all 3 NA teams are making playoffs and are making Masters, I mean. I'm not saying they're that, but they're at least making playoffs. And it's going to be interesting. So that's my my second hot take of the week. I'm feeling a little spicy today.
I think Valorant needs to implement some sort of live reffing, so that way they can control this sort of story, as we've seen with, the playoffs. I'm like, all of a sudden this guy gets a technical foul, this guy gets thrown out the game. We need something like that equivalent. Maybe like if your mouse is too big, they're like, oh no, like sorry, your mouse is too big, you can't play today. Oh no, like automatic, Yeah. They gotta have these viewership numbers up. Somehow Riot's gotta get their hand in the sauce. So we'll figure that out.
Yeah.
I have, my mood has been brightened. You feel like you've brightened my mood with multiple forces. I'm going to force up myself.
Ooh.
And I'm going to say, the future is now. Future. I think it was this week. There was a gameplay, quote unquote, of this new game using Unreal Engine 5 called Unrecorded, which is a live view, or not live. It is a single-player FPS that tells the story of a tactical police officer from the perspective of a body camera. And the body camera, like, graphics footage looks so real. In the video shown, it looks almost too real. You know, watching how it's generated. I'm looking at some gameplay now, and it looks a little more like, yes, this is probably a game, but I think it's crazy to see how much that this is affecting, not just like, you know, Unreal Engine 5 and how much better graphics are getting, but kind of the future of video games is getting more and more realistic, or they can be more and more realistic if they chose to be. I think this is the next step in, like, you know, making realistic games, because again, this will probably be a more linear, like, you won't be able to travel as much, but again, the graphics, the realism is there. And I think we're getting closer and closer to a SAO type headset kind of thing. And I'm kind of excited for that. Not people dying in virtual reality, but the idea of being able to do things like virtual reality and having more freedom when it comes to how you want to express yourself through the medium of video game making. So, I don't know, what are your thoughts on this?
I saw that gameplay too. I instantly thought, I was like, I don't know what game he's talking about. This is literally just him in a body cam playing airsoft. There's not a gameplay. And then I saw comment section blow up on it. It's like, this is too realistic. This needs to be monitored. Blah, blah, blah. This is really good. So a lot of people are split on this, actually. I'm actually curious on how this is in development. I do want to see streamers play it and see their opinions on it. I mean, this looks too realistic. I don't even think I can run it. I don't even know my PC's capacity to even run this game because of how realistic this is. So it gives weird vibes, because how do you like, I just want to know the process of how you made a game look that realistic, because that is a little too skeptical at how like real it is. But I am also on the other side where I'm like, this is really good. I want to know how it plays. So it's going to be interesting. I am interested in seeing how it's going to work.
Yeah, I'm not much of a gun head, you know. I'm Canadian. We don't got guns around here. So I really don't care much for like the actual gameplay of it in terms of like, oh no, I get to be a police officer. I can't wait to live out my fantasy of shooting people. Okay, we run a Valorant podcast where you do literally shoot people. So maybe
So we
got
gun
than I thought.
We are gun people.
But I think this does open the gateway. I'm so sorry. The audio's gonna be so scuffed today. I keep nudging my microphone, and also I forgot to put it on after our little break, so it might be a little scuffed then too. But anyways, I apologize to the fans. However, I think this opens a gateway to how we can do realism in video games. And although, like, again, this is just like shooting people, dude, a real life tag game, that'd be fucking sick.
Yeah,
you just run around tagging people, hide and seek.
Ooh.
I know we had prop hunt, but like a real life hide and seek game would be so sick.
First person Mario Kart, VR Mario Kart. Think about that. That Nintendo, I don't know what you need to do, but VR Mario Kart, that could be something.
Yeah, the world's open. I'm excited. I'm excited to get back into video gaming. Things like this really do like pique my interest. I probably can't run it, but I'd love to go and check it out on somebody's. I also think something like the other one that I heard someone talk about say was really interesting was VR Google Maps, where you go into basically Google Maps Street View with VR headset on, you like walk around.
That's actually pretty interesting. That would be really cool.
And I heard that sounds so interesting, and I would love to do that. And maybe some sort of modification where it's like, you know, you can like actually walk around instead of like just jumping from point to point. That'd be interesting. But anyways, that's all I have for this week. Do you have anything else to add?
I think I got everything out.
All right, so for more competitive Valorant content and updates, follow us at The Weekly Defuse on Twitter. Give us a subscribe here on YouTube at The Weekly Defuse. Thank you for watching another episode. The next week will be on Friday, April the 28th. Friday, April the 28th. Until then, have a good one.
All right, guys.
And peace. See ya.
Bye-bye.